Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for February 16th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the last week, we've only seen very light amounts of precipitation over the northern third of the Great Basin, mainly across Idaho, and even these amounts of rainfall and snowfall have been well below normal. Elsewhere, high pressure has been dominating with very dry and warm conditions across the Great Basin. This will be changing this week as we have a storm system well off the west coast, which will move eastward, and this will bring increasing winds, rain and snowfall Wednesday and Thursday across the area. Until then, still high pressure dominates with generally warm temperatures and dry conditions for one more day today. Now looking at the ventilation index for today, indices are very low across the Great Basin with these lighter winds and valley inversions in most areas. Looking at the individual components of the ventilation index, transport winds on the left show very light winds in most areas, with the exception of western Wyoming and parts of the central Idaho mountains. Also very low mixing heights, as indicated on the right, are existent across much of Nevada and western Utah. If we move into Wednesday and the storm system off the west coast approaches Oregon and northern California, winds will increase significantly from west to east across the Great Basin, first starting in the Sierra and western, central, and southern Nevada, where ventilation indices will increase significantly as well. However, on Wednesday, further east and north, we'll still see low ventilation indices across much of Utah, Idaho, into Wyoming. Looking at the transport winds on the left for Wednesday, and you can see this dramatic increase in winds over much of the western half of the Great Basin, and still somewhat lighter winds further east with the exception of the higher elevations. Mixing heights again also remain high on Wednesday across Nevada, and still low over some of the valley locations as we move further east across Utah. Moving into Thursday, the storm system moves across the Great Basin, which will spread much colder temperatures, along with rain and snow in many areas on Thursday, and keep those stronger winds in place across the area, which will allow the ventilation indices to increase significantly in all areas. Again, looking at the winds on the left on Thursday, and we can see this increase in winds in all areas, with the exception of parts of southwest Nevada, and also much higher mixing heights. Now looking at the Utah Forecast Clearing Index, for today, we see generally low clearing indices over much of the valley locations. The only areas seeing good clearing index are in the higher elevations of the Wasatch Mountains and into the central Utah mountains. On Wednesday, as those winds increase, we will see the clearing index increase from west to east, and by Thursday, we should see good clearing index in all areas across Utah. Over the next few days, the amounts of precipitation are indicated on this map, and this goes from today through early Friday morning. You can see the heaviest amounts of precipitation are in the Sierra, where we'll see over 2 to 3 inches of total precipitation, which will largely fall in the way of snowfall. Therefore, on the west side of the crest, we could see 2 to 3 feet of new snow and around 1.5 to 2 feet on the east side of the crest into the Tahoe Basin. As you move further east, we'll see much lesser amounts of precipitation, but still good overall precipitation totals, with most areas seeing over a half inch of precipitation and some areas in the higher elevations mainly seeing over an inch. By Friday, this storm system will be moving through the Great Basin. There may still be some showers over parts of Idaho and western Wyoming, but we'll see the drying effect beginning further south as we move across the Great Basin this weekend. Winds will still be somewhat breezy on Friday, therefore dispersion should be fairly good across the area with the exception of parts of eastern Utah into western Wyoming. On Saturday, we'll see generally southwest to west flow, and again, any showers will be focused mainly across Idaho, possibly near the Nevada border. Winds will start decreasing by Saturday especially, and we'll likely see a little bit poorer dispersion across the area, but still some decent areas across parts of Nevada. Moving into Sunday, we see a ridge of high pressure start to build over the Great Basin. This will bring some lighter winds and somewhat lower ventilation indices across the area. This will also continue into Monday with that high pressure in place, again forcing any storm systems well to the north, with any precipitation falling across Idaho. Looking at the overall forecast amount of precipitation from Friday through early Sunday morning, and you can see again dry conditions over Nevada and Utah, with lighter precipitation over the central Idaho mountains, but even this precipitation again will remain on the lighter side. Looking towards the end of the month of February during the last week, we'll likely see a return to above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. That concludes our briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.